On the interview segment for today, we focus on the controversy over demolition of structures in Kano State, with the State Commissioner for Information, Aliu Baba Dantuye, as our guest. This is Politics Tonight. Stay with us. We will be right back. And thank you very much for staying with us. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to some developments in the polity. President Bola Tinubu has met with the new service chiefs in a closed-door meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The meeting was attended by the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Christopher Musa, Chief of Army Staff, Major General Taoreed Lagbaja, Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar, Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, and Acting Inspector General of Police Kaide Agbetokun. The meeting marked the first time President Tinubu will meet the new service chiefs officially. Speaking after the meeting, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, said the president has appointed quality people and they will deliver improved security to Nigerians. He thanked the president for the opportunity to serve the country, noting that he assured them that he is ready to secure Nigeria.
We believe that the choice he made is the right one, the correct one, and we know what he wants for this country. We are going to work tirelessly to ensure that we accomplish that objective of securing our country, establishing peace, stability, and let's get our lives back. He gave us the assurance that he is with us 100%. He told us that we must work as a team and there is a work to be done. He will expect us to deliver, and we are grateful for the opportunity.
The Center for Transparency Advocacy has insisted that there are milestones in Nigeria's last general election that is worth celebrating. The executive director of the civil society organization stated this in reaction to the final report of the European Union on the 2023 elections. Moya Thomas reports.
Exposed enduring systemic weaknesses.
About a week ago, the European Union Election Observation Mission released the final report of its election monitoring in Nigeria. The report covers pre-election from collection of PVCs to registration of candidates and campaigns to election day activities and post-elections. The report extolled the commitment of Nigerians to democratic process, but also highlighted 23 recommendations drawn from areas where the election fell short. The federal government has come out to reject the conclusion of the report. This independent observer is also of the opinion that Nigeria's last election is one of the best Nigeria has had in the last 24 years.
From 1999 to 2019, I don't think it was thinkable for you to have a sitting president lose his state, incoming president lose his state, and the national chairman of the same political party losing his state. It's not gimmick, it's something that really happened. And these are things, some of the things we should celebrate. Even while we are saying it is not yet uhuru, we need to continuously be committed to ensure that our electoral processes are very transparent.
She also cautions that government should consider the recommendations included in the report.
In the report also, they mentioned some of the positive things that came out of that election that we cannot sweep under the carpet: the preparation to the election, the turnout of people to that election. And then they mentioned the other aspect that they also found that their observers found out there on the field. These are things that happen generally on the election day.
It is important to note that the EU observation team comprised of 11 analysts based in Abuja, 40 long-term observers deployed to all regions, and 54 short-term local observers, making a total of 110 from 25 EU countries. These numbers by no means cannot cover more than 5% of the 176,000 polling units scattered all over the country. Though the Election Observation Mission is just an arm of the European Union, but the European Union as a multilateral organization may need to go the extra mile to prove to the current administration that it does not in any way intend to interfere in the sovereignty of Nigeria. Moya Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
The Presidential Election Petition Court has adjourned till the 4th of July for the Independent National Electoral Commission to open its defense against the petition filed by the Labour Party. The adjournment was due to the absence of the first witness the Commission wanted to call. Judiciary correspondent Celestina Iria reports.
The Independent National Electoral Commission told the court that they have a total of 3 witnesses to call against a petition filed by the Labour Party. Unfortunately, their first witness was unavoidably absent due to domestic reasons. Counsel to INEC prayed the court for an adjournment to enable them to call their first witness. However, counsel to the Labour Party said they came prepared to respond to the evidences and the witnesses sought to be called by INEC.
We are really surprised and shocked because having had the Salah holiday, the weekends and all that, more than a week, we thought that they would have been ready because on our part, we prepared so well that we were ready to embark on a demolition work. But that is their case. They came to court and said that they wanted to, they proposed to have 3 witnesses today. The first one was unavailable due to domestic reasons. We were not told what happened to the other 2. Therefore, they are asking adjournment to tomorrow. We are ready to come here tomorrow.
The Labour Party had called a total of 13 witnesses to prove their case against INEC's conduct of the last presidential election. The day's proceedings will continue with INEC opening its defense against a petition filed by the PDP. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, who is the Commissioner for Information in Kano State, Halilu Babadantiye, for discussion on the controversy over demolition of structures in the state. Please stay with us.
Lagos is the most visited state in Africa as the 5th largest economy on the continent. Covering the state and its government is no mere feat, it's a busy beat. We go beyond the curtain of tapes to travel in far into the deep.
I want to thank the Lagos State government for the healthcare facility.
To bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
A greater Lagos shall be ours.
We tell you stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Thank you very much for staying with us. You're still watching Politics Tonight. Again, beyond the headlines, I am joined by the Commissioner for Information in Kano State, Halilu Babadantiye, for discussion on the controversy over demolition of structures in the state. Dantiye is a former president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors and member of the prestigious National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Jos. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. So some days ago, we had Engineer Buba Galadima on the show, who gave us his own opinion on some of the policies and decisions taken by the governor. But it became very important for us to hear from someone who is a part of this administration for a clearer understanding on the reasons behind the actions of the governor. So once again, thank you very much for joining us tonight. So let's start with the new cabinet of Governor Kabir Abba Yusuf. How will you describe it?
Well, I will describe the new cabinet as a cabinet of action because he has been able to identify and bring people that are capable, people that have been tested, so to say, and people that are ready to work, to join hands with him, to realize the promises made during the campaigns. These are people that are specialists in their own, experts in their own fields, people that have been working very hard already to make sure that the policies, the manifesto, the blueprint that His Excellency campaign with have been implemented for the benefit of the people of Kano State. So the cabinet, you can see, is a combination of the young and the elderly, and this is a good combination for any development to be realized. You have the young, you have the aged, you have the experience, you have the people that are coming up. So I think it's a very good cabinet, and given the time, you will see what I'm saying.
All right, so now that a new cabinet is in place, what should the people of Kano State expect from the administration?
Well, you see, it's a constitutional requirement that you cannot govern without a council. There are so many decisions that cannot be taken unless by the council, which is the highest decision-making body at the federal executive council, and the state executive council. Even in terms of money, spending money, there is a limit of how much His Excellency the Governor can approve, and also there is anything beyond that has to go to the council. So without the council, not so much can be achieved or can be done. So the existence or the establishment of the council will help to identify, to help to approve, to help to implement projects. Because otherwise, you can't spend money. You can't, and without money, you cannot work for have development. And also, not only that, other decisions, policy decisions that have to be taken at the Executive Council level to make it government decisions. So the Executive Council is a very essential arm of governance in each state and at the federal level.
So, I mean, what do you consider as the biggest challenge in Kano State that demands urgent attention?
Well, the biggest challenge, well, of course, is we have a lot of out-of-school children, and you know our priority has always been education. The priority of His Excellency Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf is education. The priority of the previous administration where we came from was education, and I mean the administration of Niger Musa Konkoso. So our priority is education. Our second priority is education. Third priority is education. Then we are also concerned about the level of education, or level of our youth unemployment. So there is this huge need for carrying the youth along, trying to empower them, making effort that they're empowered, they're educated, they're given support to sustain themselves. Then, of course, there is the issue of making sure that they don't go into drugs, or we bring down the issue of drugs drastically down. So these are the challenges, these are the priorities of the government. And of course, there are so many, because we are taking over from a government that has virtually run down every sector. So we have double work to do. One, to rectify, then to implement what we want to implement.
All right, so let's talk about out-of-school children. I mean, you would agree that this is like the biggest nightmare of Kano State. What does the governor intend to do about that?
Yes, I said so. The issue of out of school children is a matter of concern to the government, and plus I told you part of what we did. I think it's essentially we were continuing from where we stopped, because we were all part of Ravi Musa Konko's government. We are part of the implementation of the program he came up with. So once the program was stopped, it was stopped by the president administration. Then we have this problem. Now, during that administration, which we want to revive, His Excellency the Governor Abakris wants to revive, is one is free education, two is expansion of access and easy access, even in terms of support. The government would support them with uniforms. You know, the federal government was giving them two sets of uniforms, free feeding at primary schools, and building of classrooms, training of teachers, and so on. So once you expand, and once you train teachers, you get more. You know, if they and in case of need, you bring back those that have retired and are able, and all these are under consideration. You know, during that administration, about 44 schools were established, but none of them, when the middle past administration came, they just virtually killed all of them. They didn't allow them to exist. Even the ones that were existing had to suffer a lot of difficulties in continuation. So in terms of education, I think it's been given where the Governor Abba Kabir is given education priority both at the primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. And that's why when we come to these things we are talking about demolition, I'll explain to you how the things have been done.
So, Governor Abba Yusuf is the only governor on the platform of NNPP, but analysts say he started on a rather controversial note with the demolition of structures erected by immediate past administration of Ganduje. Let me ask you, don't you think this is a bad way to run the government?
No. It can't be a bad way. You can't. How is it bad? He didn't start on a ground footing because the moment he was sworn in, the first thing he did was to visit the drug rehabilitation center at Iru. Iru is about 60-70 kilometers away from Kano that established where we which was abandoned. And this is not a bad start, because it's a good start. It depends. You see, it depends on how or why people choose to isolate one action, and even that action was not well analyzed and so on. You cannot appropriate public institutions and say they are right. But when you appropriate them, nobody talks, and when you get them back to the people, then that's when people start. Some people start talking. But you understand that we are taking over from an enemy government, so to say. So they will do whatever they can to change the narrative. But the fact of the matter is this: all these places that were either demolished, are public places that were given to individuals. No, like the governor has said several times, especially during this Salah visit by the MSU, has told them, nobody's house or shop was demolished. If they were demolished, it was because they were built on public places, public institutions, in schools, in mosques, in markets, not even markets, but universities. You take over a whole university building and make it a shop. Make shops there. You go to the central mosque, and you build shops. And when people want to pray, you have contracted the mosque. You go to Polytechnic and take part of it and build houses. When the Polytechnic, they are in need of facilities like libraries, like toilets, like theaters and so on. So it's not really anything about outside. As far as the narrative outside, maybe yes, but in Kano, people are happy because when it started, they opposed it. In Polytechnic, the union then 3-4 years ago not only protested, but demonstrated. They said, look, don't take this land, because we need this land to build toilets, to build theaters, to build classrooms, to build other facilities, to expand the school, because the population is expanding. So if this population is expanding, you need to, buy land to expand the schools, not to take the school's land. You don't go to a whole school like the University of Science and Technology institution that hosts the School for Hospitality and Tourism in Kano, and you just demolish everything. Then they took the students away and build a wall and say you are attracting investors. Which investor would come and invest in public places and then say that you are bringing economic development to Kano? I don't think that is proper. I don't think so.
All right, Honorable, there have been a lot of reactions to this issue, and people are still reacting. Some people say he is doing this out of hatred for Ganduje. How will you react to this?
There is no vengeance, because nothing is personal to him. Look, he has said so. Look, even yesterday he said, the governor said, said, look, I'm the first person to governor to fill my code of conduct forms. And when I leave, at the end of the tenure, go and check. I want everyone to go and check that form and see if there's going to be any change. Which means this land is not going to take part of this land. And it's not going to allocate to any individual, but it's going to return it to institutions. That's the difference. So there is no vendetta. If there is no vendetta, because the land is not going to be given to any individual like the previous government did, because they allocated to maybe to their families or to their friends or to other individuals and so on. Now he said, look, this land should not be given to any person, because the land belongs to schools, the lands belong to the mosque, the land belongs to the people, and the people should now own their land. So what's vendetta there? There's no vendetta. Anybody, I'm sure, even if it were his deputy that took over, I'm trying to take this action.
All right, so let's leave the issue of demolition. Governor Yusuf is also going after other policies and programs of the immediate past administration by sacking some employed officials and stopping salaries of others. Why this?
No. Nobody is sacked. Absolutely nobody is sacked. That is incorrect narrative. Nobody has been sacked. What happened is, so about 10,000 people were employed in about 2 months. And you come to wonder, even if there is no sacking or no stoppage of salaries, what happened? How did you employ about 10,000 plus in 2 months that you have not employed in 8 years? This is a question. One, two. What I think what the governor said, what he did, is that because there are a lot of complaints in the service, because so they said, look, set up a committee for verification, but their salary have to be suspended, because if you pay salary to wrong person, how do you retrieve it? But if you stop it and the verification say he's right or he has been employed rightly, you can pay him backlog the salaries. But when there is suspicion of malfeasance or inappropriate procedure that was followed, then the best thing in service, and that's the tradition in service, is to set a verification committee, verify, find out those who have been wrongly employed, or those who have been maybe take their results, maybe were.
But don't you think the governor should have set up these committees for verification before sacking them or stopping their salaries?
No. You see, if you say that, which means now he'll pay salaries to wrong people. So the salaries have to be stopped first. Otherwise, if he pays the salaries to these people for this month, and now he set up the committee, then the point I'm telling you, who will now, if you find out that these people have spent the money, have spent the salaries, and they are wrongly employed, now how do you retrieve that money?
But how do you conclude they were wrongly employed when the verification has not even started or concluded?
No, but when the outcome of the verification now will show. So those that are wrongly employed, of course, they are wrongly employed. The rules and regulations will take its course. And if they are rightly employed, they'll get their salaries. Nobody will touch their salaries. Absolutely not. And it's normal. It's normal in service. It's normal in service.
All right, I've been speaking with the Commissioner for Information in Kano State, Halilu Baba Dantiye, tonight to discussing the controversy over demolition of structures in Kano State. We'll take a break and I will be right back. Please stay with us.
It's always a great morning on the TVC Breakfast Show.
Thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
With the array of stories that matter and what's behind them.
As you say, the first blow indicates the direction of government.
Tell us what really is going on between your union and the federal government.
Once it's generated,
if you don't use it, it's waste. We are not even sure whether we have a strategy for security.
Are you saying that there was nothing wrong in that?
Was he the one driving the taxi?
Answer the question.
Reveal your morning with all you need to know.
Like
yes, just mundane lyrics.
Yes.
How does that fit into your scheme of events or duties right now?
No chief of staff, no general has the right to call a governor to order. The governor has been elected by his people.
Start your day right, because this is the breakfast show that adds to your breakfast. TVC Breakfast, weekdays at 7 a.m. only on TVC News.
Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us. This is Politics Tonight, where we dig beyond the headlines. Tonight we're discussing the controversy over demolition of structures in Kano State. And joining me to shed light on the decisions and actions of the governor is the Commissioner for Information in Kano State, Halilu Baba Dantiye. All right, Honorable, so all of this, retractions of policies, demolition of structures, many say this will distract the governor from focusing on governance. Don't you think so?
No, I don't think so, because this is part of governance. Because look, this is a tradition of government, a tradition of governance. You take over, see policies that need to be changed, you change them. See policies that need to be discarded, you discard them. See policies that need to be built on, you build on them. So it's not only in Kano, it's only because this is been done, and this been done is because of the massive destruction that was done in Kano by the previous administration. And that's why you assume that it's a distraction. So a distraction, that's the process of government. You take over. If there is any policy that is good, you follow it, you build on it. If there is policy that needs to be changed, you change it. So if there is any construction, whatever you want to change, you change it. So it's not, because ultimately the aim, the objective is to make sure that people benefit, or it's been done in the public interest. Well, if it's in the public interest, it doesn't really matter. It's not a distraction, it's part of governance. Well, the governor will come to improve the lives, to protect the lives, to protect the property of the people, to make sure that justice is done and so on. So if this is part of governance everywhere, maybe because it's so much attention is paid to it, but there are so many things that are also taking place there.
All right, so don't you think this will affect the future of the NNPP in the state? If the party is trying to reposition and grow into a national party, do you really think this is a good way to kick off?
No, but people are happy. You see, people. Well, I don't want to say people like you, but some people outside, they have this have a mindset. We celebrated Salah. And if you see how people troop to welcome, to appreciate the governor, you'll be surprised that things like this are coming out. So this is making NNPP popular, because it's setting a precedence that nobody in future will come and take people's land and appropriate and just go away like that. And nobody will just be allocated people government land lands that belongs to institutions and take it just like that. He knows that one day there will be consequences. And otherwise, how can you stop this kind of thing?
All right.
Land belonging to a school, to a university, you went and demolished. Look, do you know Hajj camp? The Hajj camp is a place where pilgrims stay on transit. And this was built by Audubon 50 years ago, or more than that, because remember, Kano was the center where pilgrims live for Saudi Arabia, from northern Nigeria, from all states of northern Nigeria and the neighboring countries like Niger and Cameroon. And so there are about 132 houses, 2-bedroom houses. All these houses were just demolished like that, and the land handed over to allocated to an individual. So we still have pilgrims, don't we? So do you think this should just go like that? When they were destroying these houses, people didn't complain. It's only when now that the government said, look, you must turn this land to pilgrims welfare board. You must rebuild the pilgrims of the camp, because we still have pilgrims that go to Saudi Arabia, and they need to stay 2-3 days before their flight, or when they come back, they need to stay 2-3 days to wait their luggage and so on. And someone, remember, some are from Kano, some are from Borno, some are from other states and so on. So how would they stay? So how do you, over 60 toilets were just demolished like that? So why would they, and so on. So this is the issue. The issue is we are setting precedents that His Excellency, the governor, is setting precedent that in future nobody will come and take people's land and just think that it is gone and gone forever. No.
Honorable, now you just said
it's making NNPP very popular, very popular. If other states will just emulate it.
All right, you just said Kano people are happy with this decision. But last week we saw videos of people who were protesting against this demolition. How would you react to that?
No. You see, if you want to, of course there are people that will protest. But how many of them? You are talking of majority. You are talking of democracy. So if people, we're not saying that 100% nobody will protest. We're saying that people that were allocated that place are not happy that it's been taken over back to government, because they're selfish. So if they protest, why would people look? If you stop them protesting, then there will not be democracy after. But I'm telling you that the majority. Look, we had a Salah meeting that took that lasted for 5 days, and no incidents anywhere we went. So why don't you reflect that? Would they say people will not protest? Of course, there could be people that will protest, which is normal. But when you come to the ground, you'll assume that day Kano will just be bad. But people were just hailing the governor from the ground. From there, we went to the Emas Palace in the morning. After the morning, we went even for the Doba. After Doba, the next day, the emir came on horseback, and just the 5 emirs came and paid homage, and they were thankful and so on. So how did it, just because of a few people organized, paid, that's protested, there will be a reference point? No, certainly not.
All right then. So, I mean, in all of this demolition spree embarked upon by the governor, one question several persons have asked is, why should anyone demolish the beautiful government house roundabout in Kano?
Okay, that roundabout is of course located at the gate of the government house. The fact that a monument is placed at government house roundabout is problematic, because that place should be free. And nobody is saying that the design or whatever it is, or the concept or the history is nobody's fault of that. But the location is problematic. The location is objectionable. Because how could you locate that huge structure massively at government house? Because somebody is trying to, by force, by fire, by force, to make a legacy. Now the government said, look, this is not the place to put this. You should get an appropriate place that should be located. If you go not far away from there, there is the flyover built by Governor Rabi Pokos. When he was building it, there was something like that, something small, but also historical monument, so to say. The Silver Jubilee, this is a Golden Jubilee. So when Kano was celebrating 25th anniversary, I think it was Hans Abdullahi who built it. And when he was going to construct Governor Konkos was going to do the flyover, he moved it somewhere. He didn't destroy it. And there was also another, something like calabash decorated, and so he also moved somewhere. So it's a look. It's not a question of destruction. It's a question of the location is inappropriate, and it's going to be located maybe at an appropriate location. So people assume, people can be rushed in making conclusions, which is fine. But with time, people understand the rationale behind certain actions.
All right. Well, I know Governor Yusuf has said critics should wait till the end of his tenure, but you and I understand the importance of feedback. Critics say it is former Governor Kwankwaso that is indirectly ruling the state and trying to wipe out the Ganduje legacy.
No. You see, if you say so, I don't think if you say Kwankwaso is the one ruling, I don't think we'll be angry about that, because we all served when he was governor, and like I said, we are now trying to revive some of the project and program about that. So what's wrong with that if that's so? However, he was our leader because our government was our boss, and he's a leader of our party. He's a leader of the NNPP. So what is it if he advises, or if he guides, or if he intervenes in areas where he says, look, this is what should be done or what should not be done? And it's not a question of him ruling, but naturally he cannot assume it's not possible for him not to show interest in it. Because look, I was his press secretary for 3.5 years. The governor was his commissioner, was his private secretary. So and we maintain that not loyalty and friendship, but that camaraderie. So what is it that if he comes and says, look, this is what you should want to do, what is the big deal? I cannot see. Because now do you want us to also do like a NNPP to fight him for no reason? So it's okay, he's a leader of the party. Even as the leader of the party, he can advise. Even as a former presidential candidate of the party, he must show interest in what goes on. So don't assume, that because they say because they're ruling and so on. Meaning what? That he should Kano is a state, so he should not show interest in Kano.
All right.
No. I think yes. I think we are comfortable with his role, and whatever people say is, of course, their opinion. But we respect him, and we appreciate his guidance, and we will continue to follow him, because he has been giving us very good leadership, both at national and state level.
All right, so let's talk about another critical issue in Kano State. Why is it that both Kwankwaso and Ganduje find it hard to forgive one another?
Well, I think that question should go to Ganduje, who even said he was going to slap this pedestrian language. But in terms of let me say that I think essentially it's not really more than a personal thing. It's a question of developmental issue and a political issue. If Kwankwaso love for people of Kano, is different from Ganduje's perception, because let me give an example. When Kwankwaso was governor, he established 26 institutions for youth empowerment, women empowerment, and general development of the youth, and so on and so forth. Ganduje kept all the 26. So you can see the different perception of development. So if that perception will bring, some disharmony. But what at personal level, I cannot say whether there is any big deal. But in terms of what the concept of welcome should be, I think there's fundamental difference. And we don't want to spend so much time on it because that is a big distraction. We want to continue to build on what Congress has done. We want to continue to revive the projects that were abundant, which people were happy with, which have helped in the progress and the standard of living of the people that have been stopped. That's our business. So we don't want to go into semantics, into destructive politics and so on. So this is our governor.
All right. But don't you think the bad blood between them is, I mean, hearing up the polity and causing tension in Kano State? Did you get my question?
No, I didn't.
So I'm asking, don't you think this bad blood between them is heating up the polity and causing tension in Kano State?
Well, it may, but you see, it used to, especially when Ganduje was in government, because he was very powerful as governor, we had government. But without followership, without government, so I don't think they have people that will really cause bad blood and will bring any setback to us or to Kano. No, they don't have that people, they don't have the power, they don't have that strength rather.
So, Honorable, if you agree with me that this is causing so much tension in Kano State, would you also agree that the people of Kano State are the biggest loser in this? I mean, a lot of people have said this has caused so much setback in the development of that state.
No, you see, if you talk of tension, so much tension, I keep saying whether we're talking about the same Kano, whether the Kano I live in. Because I've not seen the tension. There's no tension. This is my problem. People outside say there is tension, but we live in Kano and there's no tension. And as I'm telling you, I told you that we just celebrated Sunday.
Can you hear me, Honorable? Are you there? If you can hear me, are you being able to hear? All right, I've been speaking with the Commissioner for Information.
But actually, there is not that tension that we think that as if Kano is a no-go area or cannot, is a place that can just spoil anytime. No. The security agents are there. How many people did they arrest during Salah? How many people did they detain during Salah? How many people? How many? No. Nobody was really, there was no instance in Kano. No.
So, I mean, I asked you if you agree that this is causing a lot of setback in the development of Kano State. This is what the people are saying.
Well, it depends on their perception. When the government is focused, we remain focused. But of course, I'll not say that, in certain areas, they are causing destruction or they're causing some trying to cause some dislocation either in government or by peddling fake news and by peddling misinformation and so on. But in terms of serious governance, it's just normal like anywhere. If you go deep, each state has this kind of problems, especially where you have differences that are sharp and deep. But in Kano, of course, yes, I will not say 100%. It will not cause anything or it will not cause any problem. Yes, there could be problems here and there. Yeah, I accept. But by and large, there are some that are affecting, the governance, the in terms of politics. Kano is a very, very, very heavily political state. We play politics, or people do politics in Kano all year round. If you go to Kano today, if you listen to radio, you assume that tomorrow is going to be election. So we are used to these politics and so on. People love politics, they play politics and so on. But the governance is different from politics. In the governance, Abba Kabir Yusuf is a very rational person. He's very, very, very objective. Politics is different from governance. He mentioned several times, even yesterday. He said, look, all the elected government chairmen don't belong to our party. But it doesn't matter. I want to work with them because our interest is the progress and development of Kano people. And he said he was very happy that they have understood this and they are cooperating with the government. So what setback All of the local government chairmen have belonged to the opposition party, but the government is working with them.
All right, so let's talk about your party now. How would you describe the future of the NNPP?
Well, the future is very bright. The future is very bright. Just wait and see. The future is very bright because this is, you see, because we are used to parties that come from top to bottom. Ours is from bottom top. So now, and this is the litmus test, Kano. So if Kano is able to do well, which we are doing under the governorship of Engineer Abba Kabir Yusuf, then others will continue to expand. And I just hope that maybe during elections will continue to be free, fair, and credible. And you'll see wonders.
All right, Honorable. So I know you must have heard people calling your principal, Dr. Rabi Kwankwaso, a regional champion. So what are you doing as a party to extend the influence of NNPP beyond Kano State?
Well, you see, people give labels and so on. You cannot call Dr. Kwankwaso a regional politician because he has always been a national identifier as national. You know, somebody who started who was a member of the National Assembly, who was deputy speaker, you know, and so on, and he was a minister, he was an advisor to the president, and so on. So how do people want to reduce him from a national figure to a regional figure? You know, it's just laughable. But with him, you see, and you can see that the Kwankwasia, the movement itself, has spread over, you know, all states of the country. People appreciate it. Wherever you go, you'll see our identity, the red cap, and of course the white cap. But this is just identity. In our heart and mind, we are committed to doing good, to public good, to doing good, to service to our people, to be honest, and so on. And you see, the slogan is Amana. Amana means trust. So it's when you say Kwankwasia, you say Amana. So our strength is trust. We keep trust and we deliver things trustfully. So I think the party will expand through the platform of this of Kwankwasia and the credibility of the national, where is the international leader of Kwankwasia, Mr. Kwankwaso.
All right, so we saw how Nigerian youths made a mark during the 2023 general election. So what are you doing to accommodate more young people into your party across the country?
Well, you see, I wouldn't want to talk about the party so much because I am Commissioner for Information of Kano State. So there is the party structure, people that manage the party and speak for the party. So I wouldn't want to go deep into area that I have no mandate to speak on beyond what I have told you.
All right, I hear you, but one more question. So with one governor, 2 senators, and 17 members of the House of Reps, what role do you think the NNPP can perform in national politics?
Well, you see, it's not at times. Not even it's not the number. It's the performance, the conduct. If they, and we are sure they are going to conduct themselves well, they are going to perform well, and this will impact. And what it impacted, once it impacted, now it will separate. Because look, Nigerians are very good people. They are very rational, very reasonable. They know what is good and what is bad. They know what is who will serve them. They know who will not serve them. They know who will lead them well. They know who will not lead them well. So, and I'm sure by the leadership of Kwankwaso, these members you have mentioned, these people you have mentioned, they will do well, and they will set precedents for others to come into the party and to separate the party. And I'm sure it's not really in terms of number, because even in terms of number, seeing the impact they're making at the National Assembly now, and that it has not even started.
All right,
this is the beginning.
All right, so let's get back to your forte. I mean, the new administration has resuscitated scholarship for foreign studies in that state. What prompted this decision?
What prompted the decision is, like I told you, where Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf's government is an offshoot of Governor former Governor Rabi's government. He was deeply part of it. And Governor Rabi Musa Konkuso, I told you I was his press secretary for about 4 years, 3.5 years. And he sponsored, his government sponsored over 2,000 Kano first-class degree graduates to different countries in the world to go and study to further their education. They are all back. They have also set up their association, they call themselves Concosia scholars. They're doing very well. We have over 150 PhDs amongst them. So that has made Kano uplift the standard of quality of educated people in Kano. So it is in that light that the Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf wants to also make sure he continues along that line. And so far, he has set up a committee that has screened about 1,000. And just yesterday, he said yesterday also, right. He said by September, they will start going to different countries.
But do you think the states can afford this? All right. Please go ahead.
No, whether the government can afford?
Yes, can the state afford this?
Yes, because the state can afford. Because look, you see, it's not the question of there is no money, it's a question of management. It's the question of leakages. There are a lot of wastages. And at times it is the people that give the government the idea of saying there's no money. So once you say there's no money, some government will do that. But the money is there, and you'll see that when Congress was sending 2,000 people were saying there was no money. Once we were saying he's sending 100 young men to Jordan, Mid-East School of Aviation to go and do piloting and so on. People were saying, look, where was the money? But because money was there, because he has been able to block leakages, which is exactly what Governor Abbaiso is doing also. So the money is there. You wait and see. If the money is there, why should we now say we are going to sponsor them? If the money is not there, we sponsor the ones that our money can take.
All right, fantastic. So before I let you go, Kano State, unlike others in the Northwest, is relatively peaceful, but the menace of phone snatching is giving people great concern. How does the government intend to tackle this?
This is a very really concerning, everyone is concerned about this very bad happenings in Kano and so on. But since the government of Abba Kabir came, there has been serious reduction. I think I heard him yesterday telling one of the emails that the Commissioner of Police told him that for about a week, he has not gotten any complaint or any arrest of such nature. And to the glory of God, it has come down. It has come down.
Honorable, are you there? All right. I've been joined tonight by the Commissioner for Information in Kano State, Halilu Babadantiye, and tonight he shed more light on the controversy over demolition of structures in the state. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Honorable. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight, but the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Join us for the repeat episode at midnight and tomorrow for another edition of Politics Tonight. Digging beyond the headlines. I am Olajumoke Olansuji. Goodbye.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
It's not your regular show. It's an online interactive session where we share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security,